Well, you're talking about saving the lives of kids and saving their futures, because we're looking at some horrific consequences of some of these treatments, some of the irreversible surgeries, and just even the hormone treatments that can have all sorts of unintended consequences. And this almost emotional blackmail that's used when this issue comes up about, well, this is going to see a surge in suicide or self-harm. And again, Michael Schellenberger, and I know there's been research out of Scandinavia as well, has completely debunked this notion that these treatments are reducing depression, self-harm, suicide. In fact, their argument is there's evidence that there's an increase in those events because of these treatments, and when these kids have regrets about having significant surgeries and treatments that change their body, change their voice, perhaps leave them infertile, they can have lifelong consequences from it.
Yeah, correct. And of course, we all have to cast our mind back to what many of us were like at 18 and younger, to thank very much so the case that we didn't brick any of that in sand, haircuts and other things being a trivial example. But I mean, it really is true. You know, we look at people, and I know there have been a number of commentators, I think even Catherine Deves has said on Twitter at some point during the course of her time that she considered herself to be a tomboy when she was a youngster, and who knows what would have happened in this environment, you know, just to use that as an example. So look, we are talking about putting a moratorium on this in order to allow children to mature, to give them the care they need, of course. I mean, we are seeing an incursion on the ability to even talk about this in some states in this country with these conversion therapy laws that stop parents and counsellors and others from even discussing this or providing care. One thing you can be assured of in life is when people don't want to talk about a subject, there's something to hide. I say, what are they trying to hide? Let's talk about it. Let's get one of these to a hearing and get the evidence from real medical professionals and the sort of things we saw out of Michael Schellenberger's research, and get them before the Australian people and let them see if they're comfortable with it.
Well, let's just briefly talk about the politics, because, Alex, you put up a bill last week to get this heard again in the Senate. I've looked through, and you thanked on Twitter those people who voted yes for your bill, and great. You know, there's Matt Canavan, as you said, and James Patterson, Holly Hughes, others. I failed to see some of your colleagues like Simon Birmingham or Andrew Bragg or Jane Hume on the yes list. Now, why are your colleagues in the Senate not supporting you? And if they're not, let me just say, right down the lens, please, if the camera can come here. Shame on you. Anyway, shame on you if you did not support. Shame on you if you did not. If you're a Liberal and you did not support Alex Antic in the Senate last week, shame on you, because this stuff is a disgrace. And as Alex is saying, the children of the future rely on you, Liberal Party, to sort this out. Alex, I know you can't slag off your colleagues. That's my job. That's why we have this show here. But why aren't the Liberal Party supporting you in this crusade? Because it is fundamental.
Well, look, I don't know the answer. That's probably a question best left for others. Suffice to say that it wasn't just a number from my side. It was also the entirety of the Labor Party and the entirety of the Greens, most of the crossbench. And some voted no, some just didn't attend the chamber, which, of course, is the other way of doing this. But once again, we're talking about having a hearing. We're talking about discussing it. We're not talking about passing the bill. The whole purpose of going to a hearing is to hammer out details, to try and take evidence from experts. And so it is a procedural matter at the end of the day. Look, I don't know. The answer is probably, or the question is probably better put to others, I would say, Rowan.
Yeah, OK. Well, I think the point is, if the Liberals aren't supporting you on this, shame on them. Every individual not involved. You expect Labor, you expect the Greens not to support this. Rita.
Well, absolutely. And we have seen in North America, we have seen in Europe, from Scandinavia to the UK and elsewhere, a complete rethink in this area where they have done reviews, thorough reviews, and realised they were doing harm to these poor, confused kids, and there's a better way of carrying out these treatments. Okay, and in Australia, there's no transparency. We can't even get clear data on precisely what's happening, what's the youngest age where a double mastectomy has been performed. For gender-affirming care.
Senator Alex Antic, we've got to go, but thank you so much for coming on Outsiders, explaining that to us. And the people of South Australia, as well as the people of Australia, owe you so much for actually pursuing this issue. It is critical to future generations, and we applaud you for doing so, and we trust the rest of the Liberal Party and the rest of the Parliament get behind you. Senator Alex Antic, always great to have you here on Outsiders. Thank you.